Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Ride for Larry. This is a 12-hour trainer session. We're going to see how this goes. Of course, you couldn't have expected this to go off without some kind of a technical glitch to get started. So it's actually 7:06. I have been on the trainer since 7 o'clock, spinning along, but just now got the stream up and going. Still having a little bit of green screen issues. You can probably see my beard is a little transparent there, or opaque. So we'll just have to live with that. Well, welcome to the ride. This session is to talk about the reason why I'm doing this, and hopefully maybe you will encourage you to do the same and do your own ride. It could be a walk, it could be a run, it could be a swim, but it's just doing something for someone else. And I see Michael has jumped on board already before he heads out to do his repeats. Michael is one of those people who is doing an iRide4 event. His is on April 3rd. He's also riding for Larry. He's got a tougher job because he is trying to raise $8,000 for Larry, while I only have, well, started off with $2,000 and am now going up to $2,500 because all of you were so kind and helped me meet $2,000 right away. But Michael is trying to raise $8,000, and I think right now he has 5,000 something, so he's well on his way to getting the 8,000 for April 3rd. Our objective is to raise $10,000 for Larry McKeithen and his family. And I'll be explaining a little more about that as we go along. So thank you, Michael, for jumping on board right away and saying good morning. I really am hoping it will be a good morning. So let's see. So what is my plan for the day? It is 12 hours. Right now I'm just simply warming up. I slept till about 6. Tried to sleep. It was hard getting to sleep. I was all keyed up. Reminds me of the younger days before you would go to a race. I kept thinking, I said, it's just a trainer and it's 12 hours. So it's not that big of a deal as far as you're in your basement. What could go wrong? I don't even have to pee on the side of the road. So I need to just chill out and get some sleep. So got up at 6, ate something, got ready to get on the bike, and here I am, spinning along at around 120 watts, just getting warmed up. So the plan is simply to warm up here for the first hour. Then I'm going to be going out to get some badges. And that's probably going to be the hardest part of the day because I've been working to get all the Zwift badges. Zwift is like a game. So it's a computer game really, but instead of using a joystick or a game controller, like a pad with buttons on it, you're actually using your trainer to ride and to make your avatar move on the screen. And then some people have what is called a steerzo, which is something that allows you to choose which lane you want to be in. So for me, I have one of those. So I'm able to turn to the right, get in a lane, turn to the left, get in a lane, or I can work to get behind someone to get a draft. So like this guy right here, let's catch up and get in the draft. Oh, too fast for him, I'm sorry. But you get the idea. You can work your way in to get a draft. And the way Zwift works is that it has algorithms that make a difference. So I'm closing the gap. Now I'm right in behind this rider, and that means that I am not having to pedal as hard because I'm getting in that person's draft. Now I'm out of the draft, so I have to pedal slightly harder. Those 60 some watts is not very hard. Also, a gaming part of Zwift is you'll notice up there beside the wattage, which is in the blue bar to the far left, there's a little blue circle with a helmet in it. That is a helmet. That is called an Aero power-up. So the game gives you power-ups, and you can click on those in order to take advantage of them. So the Aero power-up, if I hit that button, which let's go ahead and do that. I think I'll probably get some more later on. Uh-oh. I think my keyboard is not connected. So let's use the companion app. There we go. Now you notice I have an Aero boost. The Aero boost makes it where I'm going faster without having to put as much energy out. So I'm going 38 kilometers per hour with the Aero boost. And then I drop to 37 without it. So it's just helping you go a little faster with a little less output. So this is a game, but it's also like riding a bike, because the other parts, you'll notice on the far right side, there's a map that is moving back and forth, has little dots moving all over it, and then a little orange arrow. Well, I am that little orange arrow, and that's showing you where I am on this the map, the course. And as you're seeing that, you also notice there's a number that keeps changing. It's a percentage. So right now it's 0%, -1, and it can go all the way up to I think maybe 16 is the steepest grade. Some Zwifter can correct me on that, but it can go up to 16%. So right now it's 3%, which means I'm going up a slight hill. And you may have been able to hear the trainer change sounds. And that's because the computer game is telling the controller, which is my trainer, that I'm going up a hill. And so therefore, the trainer says, okay, I am going to put as much resistance on this trainer and on your drivetrain that a 3% grade on the road would put on you. So riding on Zwift is like riding on the road from a pure power standpoint. Obviously, the roughness of the road, the wind blowing on you, cars, all those environmental things are not there. But from a pure power comparison, they're very similar. I also need to say good morning to Suzanne. Suzanne is my sister, so of course she would log in and follow along some. I don't know if my mom will. I don't know if my mom knows how to get on YouTube, but maybe she will. Suzanne, call mom and see if she wants to log in. And then maybe mom can chat on YouTube. That would be exciting. And then I see Annette's come on. And of course, my wife, the beautiful redhead, is going to log in and say hello. So I'm thankful to have her there as well. So thank you all for coming on and keeping me some company. If you're a Zwifter, come on to the game. log on, and when you log on, if you go to your companion app, you can search up my name, which right now is j.idoitfor.org/Larry M. So if you do a search for idoitfor.org, it's going to show up. Hey, Eric. Wow. Long time no talk to. Thanks for logging in. Are you still on the bike? Good to have you on board. It's been kind of neat as I've been planning for this. I've been reconnecting with some folks. Kind of reminds me of the good old days when we were all starting to Zwift together. This morning I was encouraged as I was getting ready to get on. Nathan Guerrera contacted me, and I noticed he had put something about the ride on his Instagram story, and I was encouraged by that. But Nathan is like the beginning of all of this. I didn't know that streaming gameplay was a thing. I had never heard of Stitch, for instance, until I was on Zwift, and I noticed this guy was on Zwift a lot, and I was like, good gracious. Not only is he on Zwift a lot, but he's pretty good at it. And so I started following along and learned that he was, Nathan, is it semi-pro or actually pro? Regardless, an excellent mountain biker. And he was training on Zwift. But what he would do is he would be on the trainer while he was playing video games. So not Zwift per se, but just video games. And then he would stream these video games online using Stitch. I'm not on it, so someone will have to correct me on that one. But I found out that's why he was on so often, because he was doing double duty. He was training for his races while at the same time enjoying playing some video games and also building a community through streaming what he was playing. And that naturally moved over to him streaming Zwift, because it works exactly the same way. What I'm doing right now is streaming a video game. Okay, Eric, I've taken up running the last couple of years and attempting tri this year. I'm a novice Zwifter. Well, I don't know how you're going to swim on Zwift. I think there's been some talk of people doing rowing. I don't know. But I guess the only way you can swim on Zwift is to ride in the underwater sections. But that's cool, Eric. Glad you're doing that. Stay healthy and fit. Yeah, and some tri. I mean, let me explain how iDoIt4 is supposed to work using Eric as an example. When Eric is training for a triathlon, that triathlon doesn't happen without a lot of effort going into it. So the idea is that Eric would dedicate a particular triathlon, a particular event, to someone who has a need. And you can find those people anywhere. It doesn't actually have to be a very close friend. Contact a hospital. Ask them if there's a person who you could help to encourage, both by showing support to them and perhaps raising some funds for that person. So then you come to iDoIt4, and when you connect with us, we help set you up for an iDoIt4 program, a web page. So let's say It's a little girl named Susan. We would set you up with a idoitfor.org/Susan, and then people are able to come and give to Susan, and 100% of what you raise goes to Susan. So the foundation covers any of the administrative expenses that come through the bank charges, the operations of managing the server, etc. All of that is covered. So all of the money goes to Susan. So then you begin using your social media accounts, your emails, you point people to the page, let them know you're doing it for Susan. And then you share with Susan and her family what you're doing each day through the training. So on Strava, you would be mentioning, I did so many miles today for Susan. And you spread the word about what you're doing for Susan, and then other people can come alongside you, support you in your effort, and continue on. So I would not be on this trainer for 12 hours today if it wasn't for you all coming in and being a part of this. And seeing you chat, Stephen, thank you for praying for me today. And I'm very happy to be writing for your former teacher. And you are an encouragement to me, as I am an encouragement to Larry. And actually, Larry will probably see your comment as well. So you're also being an encouragement to Larry right now. So you begin to see the concept of what I Do It For is. It is not just a fundraising site. You could do fundraising through GoFundMe. And that isn't our mission. Our mission is to bring people together to show support for other people. It's also not set up so that you can just come and say, oh, I just want to raise money. You've got to do something. You've got to show support for the person rather than simply trying to raise money for them. So we'd love for other people to join in, jump on board with I Do It For. And I should mention that we're at $22.90 on the fundraising today. So I'm hoping to hit $2,500 before this day is over. So if you haven't given at idoitfor.org/LarryM, do that today. So let's hit $2,500. Now I'm going to ease up a little bit on the talking, catch my breath, and I realize I did not bring a towel up to my bike. I see them laying there on the floor. There's no way I can lean over and reach them. So we'll just have to do. Also, during this particular time, there is some setup I'll be doing, so I'll be spending some time trying to get rid of that transparent part of my beard, setting up some other things that will allow me to show web pages. So there's some other stuff that I'm going to be setting up. So please be patient with the technical things that we're doing at this moment. Here, let me do a disappearing act and grab a towel. That's important. So now you see me. And now you don't. Oh, well, I guess I need to update the website. I mean, my number here on Fundraised because Steven is telling me that the website is now saying 2340. So we've had a gift come through. So thank you for letting me know that, Steven. We're on our way. So let me come in, do one of those housekeeping things that I need to do by updating that number. So 2340. Yeah, that makes me happy. All right. We're getting really close. $160 left to go, and we're up to $2,500. But that doesn't mean I get to stop. I have to keep earning all the other dollars that were given leading up to this event. So thank you to those of you who have given, and I'll be checking the site throughout the day and updating that number. And we're definitely off to a great start. Thank you very much. Great, Eric. I'd love to have you join me. It's going to get kind of lonely. And honestly, having someone pop in and just doing a few miles, I mean, just seeing your name pop up beside me be a huge boost. So I'd love for you to join me. So go out there and run. Okay, so I said I was going to do some housekeeping. So one of the things I need to do is come in here and adjust the camera. Actually, it seems to have improved some. It's going to be interesting because there is a little bit of external light that comes into this room from a window off to my left. And so through the day, I actually could see some change. Let's see. Do I dare change this? See if that makes a difference. All right. That helped a slight bit. Probably most people don't care that I have a little bit of a transparency at the bottom of my beard. That's okay. The hair on my head is very transparent. You can see right to my scalp. Okay, so got a little bit distracted. I think I was talking about Nathan and Nathan streaming. And he went on from streaming just those things to actually calling some races. Early on in Zwift, there was a Zwifting race community that wasn't sanctioned or organized or supported by Zwift. It was just anytime a bunch of cyclists get together and they're going to ride together, there's always someone who wants to be the first person to make it to whatever point. So we would end up racing regardless. Then someone said, well, let's have an actual start and finish line. Let's all start together. Let's have a race. So a bunch of us started, well, I say a bunch of us. Back then, you might have had 15, 20 people. Nowadays, you can get in a race with hundreds of people, and then you can get in a group ride, which always turns into a race with thousands of people. But back then there were just, a few of us we were getting on in racing. So then Nathan was like, well, let's start talking about calling the races kind of like they do on TV. So people started streaming the races and calling the races. And then Zwift they didn't find out about it because obviously they were there along the way, but they began working to bring this into the game itself. So now you can have racing, and there's some courses like the City Crit course that's made specifically for racing. So you can go in and have a sanctioned race. And for that matter, nowadays, the UCI, which is the world governing body for cycling, they have online racing, esports. And I trace it all the way back to those days when we first started. One guy who I don't see on Zwift, I don't know all the story, but there's a little bit of competition, I think. But Frank Garcia, he was one of the first people to organize an actual Zwift racing team, which is Team Experimental. And that was sponsored by his company. And we were able to have these cool kits. As a matter of fact, the kit I'm wearing right now on the game is a Team Experimental kit. And there were some others. I know Nathan had Team Vision. So there was a racing community that we were all joining in and having a part of. And now you see where that has led to where there's actual pros racing on Zwift. And I think it all goes back to those days and those guys. So when Nathan dropped me a line this morning, that was really special, because when it comes to Zwift and ability and streaming and just the history of Zwift, Nathan is definitely up there in my mind. So I really did appreciate that. So I have a long way to go. I need to pace myself as far as being hydrated and fueled. And I notice I'm about 30 minutes in, and I may have drank 6 ounces of water so far. So I've got to be mindful of that, not talk too much, and forget I'm supposed to be drinking and eating things as well. That's the fine line for me. I'm live streaming this, which I've done some live streams getting ready for this event, but this adds a totally different dynamic to anything I've ever done before. I've done some pretty long rides. I've done relay rides twice from Greenville to Austin, Texas. I've ridden, my longest single ride was 220 miles from Greenville to Charleston. I've ridden from Greenville to where I grew up in North Carolina, which was, I think, 250 miles in 2 days. That was when I was older. And I've also ridden from Memphis to Raleigh in 7 days, which was basically I did 7 centuries in a row. So I've done some pretty long rides. The ride to Charleston actually took me longer than the 12 hours that I'm going to be spinning on this trainer today, but I just had to ride. Today, I'm riding and talking and trying to fundraise on the ride, so it's going to be a little different. I've never ever done this before, so I'm hoping I don't crash and burn because I'm not taking care of myself on the bike. And as he says that, he takes a swig of water. So let's see what we got here. Got a text message. Oops. I was supposed to take a selfie and send it to my wife. So let me do that now. Probably should have a selfie stick, right? Let's see, I'll get the green screen in there behind me. 1, 2, 3. Maybe I should take a picture of myself on the screen. Yeah, I could zoom in. Okay. Maybe not. Like I said, I'm learning. So let me send this to the beautiful redhead. There she is. Send. The next thing I'm going to do is, and I started talking about this earlier as well and got distracted. The next thing I'm going to do is go and start collecting badges. And one of the things I need to set up here is the ability to switch over and show you a web page, so I can show you what I'm going after and what I'm going to be doing. So again, this stream is not going to be polished. You're going to see it as it happens, the good things and the bad things. But I do hope I learned from this and that I'm able to use what I've learned in the future. So hang in there. Let's go see. Maybe someone else is given and I can change the number on the website. No, we're still at 2,340. So I'm all for people logging in and giving some cash. Let's see. Let's take a screenshot here. Send out some social media. This is something I would not be able to do if I was riding on the road. Oh man, that is kind of bright. So let's see. Can I make that look any better? Nope, I can't. Okay, well, it is what it is. Live stream underway. 40 minutes down. There we go. Let's take a little bit of a break there. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is come in and try to add a new scene, which I'm going to call browser. Let's call it Zwift Hub, because that's what I want to look at. Okay. Then while you are watching the Ride for Larry and watching me play around on my keyboard, I'm going to jump over and open a web browser. So I don't think, and I hope you're not able to see this happening. Then I want to jump over, sign into Zwift Hub. Good. All right. Now let's see if I can go and add that browser to this little software. So there's Zwift Hub scene, which you are probably seeing a black screen. Sorry about that. We're going to take care of that here in a moment. Browser source. Add that browser source. And add new source. Enter name. I'm going to call it Zwift Hub. Add that source. And let's, it's not allowing me to find, okay, so now I've got to come back here to the browser, and it did not work the way I thought it would, but I hope that this will work. So you get to see behind the scenes of how this works. Paste in the website and the width. Oh, yeah, now we're talking. The question is, can I interact with it, I wonder? Let's see. I want the width to be 1080. By 7. All right. So, don't want to shut down when source is not visible. Crush browser when scene becomes active. Okay, let's just see what happens when I say done. Then I stretch this out. Now, can I interact with it? That's the question. How do I go about working with it? Ha! Okay, so maybe this isn't going to work. Interact. Agree. Oh, okay. Now I'm seeing how it works. Yeah. So I can show you the website ZwiftHub. Now let's come back over here and try to make this look a little prettier. I guess if you like doing things like this, this is interesting to you. If you don't like it, then you might not like it. So that's not going to work. So let's go. No. There we go. Now we're talking. Okay, so if you're interested in how this software works, you can add sources and grab things to add in. So I just added a browser. Oh my, I must be going downhill because I'm spinning out. But then I can also bring in other sources. So for instance, I'm going to add to this a scene, and I created a scene that has my camera in it, which is me, and I'm able to add that source to, where are you? Gotta grab it, camera 1. And that allows me to overlay myself on the screws. So there we go. So now, there. So what you're looking at here is ZwiftHub. ZwiftHub is where I go to see where I'm collecting my badges. Oh, I'm seeing I'm disappearing there, so gonna have to work on those things as we go. ZwiftHub, I can come in and choose which badges I want or what I want to go after. It can allow me to show what I have already done and what I still need to do. So we're going to interact here and go over to Worlds. And the neat thing about this is you can go over and say, I only want to see the worlds on Zwift that are available today. So you've got Watopia, London, and Yorkshire. So I'm on Yorkshire right now, but I want to see what achievements have I not done yet in these worlds. So I can say, okay, show only the not achieved routes. So I can see, oh, I'm not logged in. Ha! That would be helpful. Okay, so how do I do this without you seeing everything? Well, my email is not an issue, and I think the password is already in there. So hopefully I won't have to enter my password. If I do, then we're going to have to find some other way to pull this off. Oh yes, it's because this is the program's own software or browser. How can I turn off the view so I can enter my password? Interesting. Maybe. Well, I got 10 minutes to get this all sorted because I'm supposed to start my next event. Let's go. hopefully, yeah, okay, good. Jonathan at paid.org. Let's try this again. Yes. Okay, now we're talking. So let's try that again. Only today's worlds. Scroll down. Show only not achieved routes. So these are really the last events for me total. Oh, great. You can't scroll down? How do you scroll down? You grab it, maybe? No? Arrow key. Arrow key? No? Well, the best laid plans of mice and men. This is why you test stuff before you do it. Well, in here are the groups, the rides that I have yet to do. Down below here, let's see, maybe I can get it to show by just coming here and saying London. So let's get rid of Wachovia and Yorkshire. Yes, here's where I'm going for next. It's called the PRL, Prudential London Ride London, and it's going to be a toughie. It's about 100 miles, which is what, 130 something kilometers, and so there are much climbing involved. You can see on the map there what I'm going to have to go through. So my goal is that here in 6 minutes, we're going to leave Yorkshire and head over to London. And I'm going to try to collect this badge. And that's what we're going to have to do. So I'm not going to be going really fast, but hopefully I'm going to knock out this particular badge and some other badges today, because my ultimate goal is to complete all of the badges. So that's going to be one of my motivations for the day. I can't finish all of the badges. I don't have enough time in 12 hours today to finish all of the remaining badges. But I think I can get it down to maybe 1 or 2 badges left, which that's going to be accomplishing a lot. So that's the objective. So I'm going to head back over to our Ride for Larry scene. So now we jump right back to what looks much more comfortable to me, and 21 kilometers. So I'm not putting out a lot of speed. Which is okay. I'm not going for distance, I'm going for time. So that is just fine. So we're going to hang out here for just a few more minutes, and then I'll switch over to the London course. I think as I'm doing the London ride, the Prudential Ride London full course, I'll tell a little bit more about the beginnings of the I Do It For Foundation. How did it get started? We'll also talk some about what led to the Ride for Larry and how that all got started. And then, frankly, there's probably going to be a lot of time where I'm not saying much of anything. I'm just trying to move along and get through the 12 hours. So I know it won't be very entertaining, but it will be accountable that I am recording that I'm doing this. And if anyone wants to jump in and say hello, I'll be here all day. Don't have any good jokes, but I'll be here. Okay, before we close out, I'm going to head back over. I have my iPad sitting here on a stand, so I'm able to go over there and keep track of some stuff. So let's go check on the giving. Huh. Well, there's another thing I got to change. I guess it thinks that my project, because today is the day, it's not giving me that particular project on the main page. So let's come in here and adjust that. So what I'm doing right now is coming in behind the scenes on idoitfor.org, where as administrator, I can control what's going on. Made a little save there. Now, should be able to go back to the site and see the current projects. There we go. Now I'm back. We're still at 2340. Come on, people. Let's see if we can get to 400 here in the next hour. So my goal is to survive for another hour. Your goal is to give $60. So that will bring us up to 2,400. And that'll put us only 100 short of our ultimate goal for the day. Now see, Zwift did not get started until a little after 7 because it's 8 o'clock here and I've only been on Zwift spinning for 56 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and make this an even hour. I'm like that. I'm one of those people, I go out for a ride on the road and I come back and my computer says it's 19.8 miles. I've got to ride around the neighborhood until it's an even 20. I don't know if that's OCD, but I just have to do that to get it even. I love collecting data. I don't even know why I do it sometimes. But I mean, for years, I think at least 5 years now, every day I've kept track of heart rate information. I've kept track of my weight, blood pressure. I can go back and tell you what my blood pressure was, 2 years ago on today. Why I do that, I don't know. I think it started back when I was training for racing. I actually had a coach, Jim Cunningham. And I tell you, you want to get good, get a coach. And you say, well, I can train on my own. I guess some people can, but the accountability, the knowledge, the encouragement, yeah, I could have known and read a book, but having someone there to motivate me and to answer my questions and make a difference, that was huge. So I think it all started back then to keep up with all of that information because I wanted to see how I was doing health-wise. And it just became a habit. And even though I'm not racing and definitely not riding at the level I was then, I still keep all those numbers. And I guess I'm thinking someday they might come in handy. I don't know. But it is something that I do think helps me at 52 years old to be able to go out there and ride with the young whippersnappers and at least for a few minutes even put a hurting on some of them. But the idea is to keep that going for as long as I can. And I think next hour I'll mention somebody that was an encouragement to me in that regard as far as the longevity of cycling. That cycling is something you can do for many years, and you can do well for many years. So let's do that in the next hour. Let me tell you what I'm going to do. Right now we're going to close out this hour. I'm going to restart Zwift because you can't switch worlds. Well, I take that back. I think some people know how you can switch worlds without closing down the application, but I don't know how to do that. So I want to close down the stream. I'm going to close down Zwift. Then we're going to start it back up again, and we're going to be in a different world. But I am going to keep spinning on the trainer during that time. So I'm going to count that as part of my 12 hours. I'll keep going even though I'm not on Zwift, and hopefully we'll end up finishing up at 7 p.m. tonight instead of 8 p.m. We'll see. I got to be willing to be flexible. So thank you for joining me for the first hour. Actually went by faster than I thought. Only 11 hours more to go. Come back after you've had fun doing whatever you're doing during your day. So thank you very much. Thank you to those who gave. Let's see, if it's not an anonymous gift, I think I'm going to say thank you in person to whoever it was that gave. Let's see. Oh, it was Stephen Brown. Thank you, Stephen. You did give an anonymous amount, but you didn't make yourself anonymous. So I want to say thank you for the anonymous gift that you gave. I really do appreciate it. And thank you for serving us in law enforcement. Which, by the way, I'll explain why that is important to this in the next hour. So join me there. Got to get off here. Got to head to London. See you there, mate.